Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to tackle the exercise that builds on our findmax algorithm. We will develop the solution step by step and understand the concept of algorithm complexity in a simple and accessible way. Let's start with the exercise. We have a function findmax that needs to find the maximum number in a list and count the number of steps it takes to do so. We will focus on the steps that are influenced by the size of input. Let's go to Python tutor and see findmax function to understand which lines are influenced by the input size and which are not. Line 1 defines the function and is not influenced by the input size. It executes only once when the function is called, regardless of the size of the input. Line 4 initializes the max number variable with the first element of the list. It is a single operation and executes only once, no matter what the size of the input list is. Line 5 starts a loop that iterates through each element in the list. The number of iterations is directly influenced by the size of the input list. For a list of size 10, the loop will run 10 times, and for a list of size 20, it will run 20 times. In general, for a list of size n, the loop will run n times. Line 8 and 9 are also influenced by the length of the list because they are part of the loop. Therefore, this loop is part of the code where we need to count the steps. Following the instructions, let's first define the variable steps and initialize it to 0. The next thing, as the instructions specify, we need to increment this variable steps by 1. The comments clearly explain these to-dos. The last line returns the max number found. It is a single operation and is not influenced by any change in the size of the input list. Since return is the last statement executed in the function, we print the number of steps taken to find the maximum number before the statement. To demonstrate, we will use different lists as input and observe the change in the count of steps with changing input size. Let's use the first list with 5 numbers as input and count the steps. We press Visualize Execution. And now we press the last button to see the output directly. The output of this code says that it took 5 steps to find the maximum number from a list of 5 numbers. So there were 5 numbers and it took 5 steps. And the maximum number that we found is 9. Going back, if we now move on to the second list, so we comment out this list and now run the same code with the next list, which contains 10 numbers. Now, if we visualize execution again, and then we press the last button, we see that it took 10 steps to find the maximum number from a list of 10 numbers. And the maximum number found in this case is 14. And going back, now if we try it for the third list, which contains even more numbers, which are actually 22 in total, and we press Visualize Execution again and press last to see the output directly. So we see that it took 22 steps to find the maximum number from a list of 22 numbers, and the maximum number itself is also 22 in this case. In general, for each list, the number of steps taken by the algorithm is equal to the number of elements in the list. This is because the algorithm iterates through each element once to find the maximum number. Steps like initializing or returning the max number are not influenced by the input size, but the looping and comparisons are. This linear relationship between the input size and the number of steps taken is what we refer to as linear complexity, often denoted as O of n. While this may seem intuitive, you might have questions like, why do we use the notation O of n and not just n? Why are we talking about input size only and not the factors like processing and memory speeds? Why did we count the steps inside the loop as 1, ignoring the count of the if statement and updating the max number? Don't worry about these details. We shall slowly but surely answer these questions too. That's all for now. Thank you for watching and joining me on this journey through algorithms. Don't forget to try this exercise with different lists and observe the step count yourself. The link is provided in the description. Share your thoughts and questions in the comments. See you next time for our next lesson on linear search. Happy coding.